it's Rebecca. So tonight is Sunday night, and I thought we would talk about my weaving books. And I'm hoping that you can bring forward weaving books that I should have because I really don't have that big of a collection. And I've read, I don't read them cover to cover as a rule. Some of them I have read cover to cover, and some I just use almost like a recipe book. I just love flipping through them and looking at all the different fun things. Hi from Michigan, Mr. Tom. And Kim's from over near Albany, New York. I don't, that's pretty close to me, I think. Okay, so I'm going to start with my very, very, very first weaving book. And look how old this one is. She went by Debbie Redding then. Now she goes by Deborah Chandler. Deborah Chandler? Yeah, that's right. This one's from 1984. And this is actually, it wasn't this exact copy that I read. The copy I read, I had borrowed from my library when I decided I wanted to weave. And I thought, I had called my local guild here, and they didn't have a class coming up for, it was in, I think October when I started. I had got the bee in my bonnet that I really wanted to weave. And I I emailed, I got a hold of my weaving guild anyways, and they said, yeah, we have a course coming up in January. January's forever from now. I can't wait. So I went down to my local library and I borrowed this book and I read it cover to cover. And then I went online and I watched some YouTube videos by Elizabeth Wagner, and I watched every single one. I was just glued to, I put them on my TV and I watched them. And they were, like those videos are older, the quality is not, it's not like today's quality of video, but I loved them anyways. And I like to say that's how I learned to weave. But then I went to the guild and took the in-person class, but I felt like I knew what I was doing when I got there. So that was kind of cool. You have one and it's falling apart. Hi, Melinda from New Jersey. So yeah, so that was my first learning to weave. What a treasure this book is. I think everybody, I don't know, I feel like this is something everyone should have in their collection. And this one I got it with my very first loom. So I think it probably was my first weaving book that I actually owned. So yeah, I love this book. Oh, love it. Anyways, that's my first one. Again, it's Learning to Weave with Deborah Chandler now. I looked in it. It was actually, this is like a first edition, 1984. She has a little letter in the front from 1984 as well. Anyways, okay, I'll set that one down. And then I think one of my very next books was this one, The Hand Weaver's Pattern Directory. It's for 4-shaft looms, and I have woven so many of these. I have gone through this book so many times. And can you see it here? It's just a treasure trove for 4-shaft looms. It's great. Like I said, I've woven lots of things out of this. This was my very first pattern book, I guess. This is kind of like a recipe book, right? I loved this book. You just bought that one? Yeah, it's such a good book. It's like, I don't know. I think you can kind of tell. I've loved it. I've dragged it around. I have, I use 16 shafts most of the time now, but I still love looking at this book. It's just a great book. All right. So I'll put that one down. And then everybody needs this one, right? It's the green A Hand Weaver's Pattern Book by Marguerite P. Davison. I always want to call it Davidson, but it's Davison. The green book everyone talks about. I feel like I don't even know where I got this one. I think somebody in my guild gave it to me, or I got it with a loom. But it's black and white, but it's just a great, great, great book. It's just like a classic that, I don't know, I feel like everyone needs this book. They can get kind of expensive. So if you find one at a reasonable price, snap it up. It's great. Okay, so that one. And then this is probably I want to say this is probably my most used book. I love this book, A Weaver's Book of 8-Shaft Patterns. I got this one when I first got an 8-shaft loom, and I have loved this one. You got the green book with your loom. Yeah, often those green books come with looms, but sometimes people just sell them on eBay and they can get expensive. I've seen them sell for like $100 before, but also I've seen them for sale for 30. So I guess they're different prices in different places. This book, I can't even begin to tell you how many drafts I've woven out of this book. I love this book. And actually, it's edited by Carol Strickler, and there's a Facebook group online. If you're not on Facebook, I mean, if you are on Facebook, join it. It's called Strickler and Color, and it has all these weaves, but in color that people have woven. So when you're in the group, you say, "Oh, this one is 256," and then you would show what you wove in that, and then other people can look at it and go, "Oh yeah, that looks so good in that color," or maybe you laid out your colors in a certain way. It's so nice to get ideas from other people. That is a really great Facebook group. If you're not in it, I encourage you to join it. um so yeah, that one I would say, I hope I'm not being too jerky with this, but this one I would definitely recommend if you have 8 shafts or more. This is just such a good book. I just love it. I'm never disappointed. If I need a waffle weave, it's going to be in here. If I want a nice twill, it's going to be in here. If whatever, if I want a summer winter, it's going to be in here. Like, look at these things. There's just, I don't know, it's beautiful. I love it. It's great. Can't say enough good things. Then this little tiny book, Weaver's Companion, and it was printed by Handwoven Magazine. Handwoven Magazine presents. It's just a little tiny book. I reference this book all the time. It's got 2 pages that I have marked that I use constantly, and one is my read chart. It's just a read chart. I don't need this whole book just for this read chart, but it's this read chart here just makes it worth it. Every time I need to sort out what read I need to use, I come to this book so often. And the other page is just sets for common yarn styles. I just like to reference this a lot. It's just a nice little reference. But having said that, this book is just chock-a-block full of fun things. Like, it's just like if you're a new weaver, it's got just like, it explains things. And if you're not sure what a term means, it'll be in here. It describes different kinds of looms, different kinds of equipment you might need or might have, different yarn. It tells you the difference between an S twist and a Z twist if you're not sure. I just feel like it's got a little bit of everything. And like, I mean, if you're watching, you probably already are a weaver, but this makes a really nice, like, little stocking stuffer or something, right? Like, it's just a nice little book to have. And it even stands up if you want it to. It's got a little way to make it stand up. I don't know. Well, I guess you guys can't see my desk there. Okay, anyways, trust me, it will stand up, but I just like it. It's a good book. I use it a lot. And okay, so I have this book from Sharon Alderman, Mastering Weave Structures. And this is a book I need to read. I haven't read it yet. I've looked through it. It's just really beautiful. I really want to read this one cover to cover, but I haven't yet. But I feel like I need to. I feel like it's an important book. I've woven that. You can see I've got it tagged. I've woven several weaves from it, but I don't think that's really the point of this book. The point of this book is teaching you basic weave structures. So that's what that's all about. And so I belong to the Complex Weavers. It's an international weaving guild, and it's typically for weavers who have, complex looms. So 16 shafts and over for the most part. I don't think there's an actual requirement that you have to be, but it does tend to, they actually put out a book recently. I don't have a copy of it yet, but it's for 8 shafts and up. So I guess as long as you have 8 shafts, but they have these books, they put them out, I don't know, is it once a year? A compilation book. So I have, it's not even once a year, January 1998 to September 2001. I have a few of these I've bought when I'm at the Complex Weavers conferences. these are just nice resources. I like having them. There's a lot to learn here. And again, this is a thing I should be reading cover to cover. I haven't. I always think I will one day. I have a couple of these. I don't think I brought them all up. Oh, and I've woven a few of these too. I wanted to, before I went too much farther. Oh, I have this one. This is another one I have read cover to cover. It's 4/8 Weave. It's by Marg Coe. Margaret Coe. If you're on Facebook, you probably know who Margaret Coe is. She's an amazing weaver. She's such a good educator. I've taken a few classes with her. She's just amazing, and she has so much to teach. I feel like it's almost over my head sometimes. Like, she's so brilliant. I wish I was. I kind of wish I could just remember things better than I can. Like, weaving can be so complicated and so, like, I'm not sure how to describe it. I'm sure you know, like, it's like you can make really simple things or you can make really complex things that are so cranial. You have to really think. And I think Margaret is like the queen of thinking weaving, if that makes sense. So she has just an amazing book to teach you how to actually create really interesting patterns. And so that's that book, and it's well worth it. Well worth it. I think you can buy that from her website, actually. Okay, and oh, here's another one. So this is a book. It's called Sprang Unsprung by Carol James. I actually bought this directly from Carol James. I've been fortunate enough to attend a couple of her speaking engagements. And sprang isn't exactly weaving, but it's such an interesting fiber art. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's kind of a unique. It's like, well, I'll try and show you some pictures, but I don't know that I can really explain it in pictures. It's like if you have threads hanging down and you start tying them at the top. They also tie at the bottom, right? Like if they're affixed at the bottom and the top, and you start moving them around, the bottom also moves around, and that's how you actually do it. So then you end up with like a seam in the middle. But she has some neat way to make it not look like wrong. She makes it looks right when you're done. It's really interesting. Well, you can see on the front there, you can see there's a seam. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a seam that comes down the center there. It's just so interesting. It's really interesting. She's such a vivacious, wonderful woman too. Anyways, okay. I have a rag rug handbook, which I'd love to dive into. Have not done any of this yet, but like, it's just beautiful. I just love it. Like I said, a lot of these books, I just want to look through. Sprang is cool. It's weaving adjacent. Yeah, it is weaving adjacent. Like twining? I don't know what that is. That's a new one for me. But sprang, yeah, it's weaving adjacent. And then, I have just these complex weaving journals. They send these out once a month. So that's what these compilation books are. They're compilations of these books that they send them out once a month. I also have magazines, hand woven magazines. I didn't bring those up, but those are always good. They're great to take a peek at and look through. They give you nice ideas, but like, look at this. Like, how inspiring is this book? It's just great. And like I said, like I've got lots of them. I didn't bring them all up here, but they're just inspiring and their stories. One of my looms, I bought one of my looms from a woman at the Complex Weavers. I had met her there and she messaged me. I gave her my card and said, hey, if you ever want to sell your loom, give me a shout. And she did. And then the very next month, there was a story about her in Complex Weavers, and it showed my loom in this magazine. I was so excited about that. Anyways, there you have it. And then I have, some other books. The Big Book of Weaving. And this is one of those books that, again, I've looked through. I don't think I've used a ton, but it is a nice book to look through. It's one of those, like, I just want to have. I just like to have it around me. It gives me some different techniques. It is nice to have lots of books that when you decide, like, maybe you don't need the information today, right? But maybe you want the information, in a year, you think, oh, I really want to learn about that. It's nice to have books that you can reach for that will at least help you even if it's not the exact thing you were looking for. I just like to have resources at my fingertips. So this is a beautiful book. Okay. I have a book on handwoven laces by Donna Mueller. I've actually used this book. I have used this book when I've been trying to learn new lace techniques. I've learned new lace techniques from this book, so that's handy. I don't do a ton of lace work, but when you do want to do it, you need to know how, and where better than in a book. So that one I have used. Oh, this is an oldie. I think I got this one from my guild when they were divesting of some of their books. A Handbook of Weaves, 1875 illustrations. So these illustrations are pretty rough. They're a little hard to see, but it's interesting to look at. And again, it's just another resource. It's just something I look at. There's definitely some really interesting things here to see. I love weaving, right? There's so many interesting things you can do and see, and I love looking through these books. Then this one, like, look at this book. It's just a book I want to put on my coffee table and just have. Like, look at this. So this one, sorry, is called Weave, Handmade Style by Murdoch Books. Not sure where I got this one. It's got a price of $15 on it, but I love it. I love having it. I may have got it from my guild as well, possibly. It's got some really, I love looking through these books and getting inspiration. Look at this blanket. I love it. It's great. Oh, I have something marked in here. What is it? Oh, it's yarns. There's so much information. Okay. Hand weaving by Iona Plath. Look at these things. This is definitely an older book as well. And again, this one, I'm not sure where I got it from. It's got black and white illustrations. I want to do something like that. I love that. That honeycomb. I'm always intrigued by honeycomb looking things. And yet, I guess I did weave one thing once, but I don't even know whatever became of that. I don't know what came of it. Here's another, here's another rag rugs. I got to make some rugs. I've never made a rug before, but look at this book. It's beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. Actually, I hope to be visiting a rag rug weaver. I hope soon. He's kind of local to me, but we keep having problems with getting together. But he makes amazing rugs and he has a really amazing loom. I can't wait to show you. Okay, and then I can't believe I left these till the end. I have these books by Marianne I'm going to say Stubininski, Marianne Stubininski. And she has, or I think she may have a third book, but I've got these two, the Stubininski Code and Weaving with Echo and Iris. These are amazing books. Again, Marianne is like Marco, like just brilliant. Like this is the kind of stuff that she weaves. Like it's just amazing. And she teaches you how in these books. She gives you the code. That's what the Stubininski Code is. It's like how to make these things. If you don't have these books, I encourage you to get them. They're amazing. Look at this. Like it's just blows me away. I have done a little bit of this and I sold it. I wish I would have kept it now. But I've done some of these types of weaves. Anyways, these are great books. These are definitely ones, if I didn't already have, I would be on the hunt for and I would be buying them. And I think you can buy them directly from Marianne. And I don't have, I'll look for a link and I'll pop it in the description. And the only one I have left is this book. I don't know where it came from, but it's called Hand Weaving Patterns from Finland by Helvi Pisalo and Vivi Marisalo. I'm sorry, I'm positive I'm butchering those names. And it's got a really nice little note written in it. And for Christmas of 73 to somebody's mom from Deborah. And they're black and white. Well, they're not all black and white pictures, but it looks nice. And I think I actually was looking through this earlier today thinking I was feeling kind of inspired by it. Some really neat things. It's, books are great for inspiration. I hope you guys can hear me okay. So inspiring. Yeah. So now I need you guys to tell me, what have you been reading? What are your favorite weaving books? Ones that I don't have. What do I need? What do I need? Somebody told me, was it Kim? Who told me they bought a book today? Somebody in one of the Facebook groups today said that they were just ordered a book called Golden Threads, I think it was called, and how it changed the face of fabric. I'm not sure what the title was again. Somebody I'm sure is going to tell me. No, nobody's got anything to tell me about. I'm going to wait for a minute. You know what I did today? I know this is completely off topic, but I binge watched. I can't believe I did it all day. I wasted the whole entire day watching Harry and Meghan. What a great series that was. I loved it. I was totally glued to my TV all day. Okay, me. It was you, Kim. Okay, New Key to Hand Weaving. And did you buy that through like Interweave or the Woolery? Actually, I put a link in the bottom here to the Woolery. There's a book there that I want. It's called 18 Towels. Let me see, actually. 18 Towels on 4 Shafts. Oh, shoot. 18 Towels on 4 Warps, 1 Tie-Up. I just keep looking at that loom book thinking that's one that I would be interested in getting. Oh, you bought it used on Amazon. Oh, I never think to look there. That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, Amazon. Oh, I remember I had one more book. This one's my very favorite book. It's the one I use the most. It's my book. It's my book that it's actually my dye book where I keep track of all of the crazy things that I do. And this book gets more and more valuable every day. Every time I use it, it gets more valuable to me. I put my dye samples in here. I write up notes about how long that warp was. Look, this warp was 90 meters. Oh my goodness, 90 meters. And I did it April. I put, what colors I used. Sometimes I write more or less 16 ends per inch, 50 meters. This one, these are some samples I did. And I write the colors down that I used. So this is, I call it my weaving Bible. Not every single warp gets all the color samples in here, but because I have a lot of them, right? So now when I'm looking for a pink, I go, oh, I know, I did a whole section on pink, soft glow. This was on Sea Island cotton. And so I write down exactly what colors I used and how I blended them. And so when I want a pink, I can go here and reference and be like, oh, I really like this pink. Oh, here's how I did it. This is my exact formula for this pink. So this is something I use just all the time, but it's not specifically weaving, although it's my weaving friend. I use it a lot. I typically keep track of my own weaving I have my partner and I together developed, I guess I want to say software, but it's not. It's like he made me a website that I can enter my information in, and I keep track of everything online, and it's stored in the cloud. So I can go computer to computer, my phone, I can go to anybody's house and pull it up and I can see what I'm doing. So I keep track of all of my warps, very detailed, right? Like I do this as a business. So I have all my customer records and all my customers are attached to my products and all the products are attached to a warp. It's really complicated. And I know we actually have some other weavers that use our system as well. I think we can still take more. Like we don't charge for it. We just let other weavers use the system. And I can't see your information. You can't see my information. It's just, if you're interested in talking about that more, shoot me an email. I think I have my email address in the description. I don't. I'll add it into the description of this video. I have it in a lot of them, but shoot me an email if you're interested in using that system. My partner usually hooks you up, and I don't know. He does the technical end of the business, not me. I just fill in the information. He sets it all up. He's a software engineer, so that's what he does. Let me see here. Do, 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 do. That's a great idea. It inspired me to start doing my own notebook on projects. Yeah, you know what? It's really important to keep track of what you're doing because it's really easy to forget. I always think, oh, I'm never going to forget this. I forget it like the next day. Like I have no memory. I can't remember anything. I enjoyed your yarn chat last night. Do you recommend for new weavers to buy white yarn and dye it or to buy different colors? If you're brand new, buy some colors. Like if you're brand new, it's more important to learn your weaving foundation first, right? Get your weaving down. And then once you know your weaving, then you can start learning dyeing. I mean, they're two different skills. So unless you really feel driven to learn to dye first or at the same time, maybe you are, I don't know. It's just like you can have problems with the dyeing process that might affect your weaving. So I think you should get stable and solid on your weaving before you introduce dyeing, I think. I actually have right now the warp that's on my loom is undyed warp and dyed weft. And the undyed warp I didn't dye either. It's just natty. And it's actually, I keep showing this. I have this little sample beside my bed. It's my double weave blankets that I'm working on. So the warp is undyed and the weft is factory dyed. I'm doing a double, it's a complicated, right? Double wide king size blankets in crackle with double weave selvage. It's complicated. I thought I just can't deal with one more thing. So I decided not to dye my own yarn, even though, I mean, I don't struggle with dyeing, but it's just like, it's complicated enough. I didn't want to mess with anything else. Same way I could have and probably should have used two shuttles for the crackle, but I can't deal with two shuttles doing double weave. It's just too complicated. I need to get, this is my first double weave project, so I need to get solid on it before I start trying to do two shuttle projects, get solid on the one thing first. The hardest thing to do, I mean, it's the easiest technically, like, is plain weave. Plain weave is, a very simple weave, but it's the hardest to get really right. You really notice if you make mistakes on plain weave. And, I started on my Master Weaver program, and the first thing you have to do is practice your plain weave. But I was thinking, this is ridiculous. I've been weaving for years. I don't need to learn plain weave. There's a lot to learn with plain weave. It sounds ridiculous, but like getting it right is harder than you might think. So start with getting your basics down is what I suggest. Okay, well, thank you for joining me tonight. If you're watching this on the repeat, by all means, in the comments, please let me know what your favorite books are, what books I need to buy to add. You've seen essentially my entire collection. I think I have a couple more, but essentially that's my entire collection. You're welcome. You're welcome, CC girl. Thank you. So let me know in the comments if you have any other books I need. And thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Bye for now.